So we're basically talking about maps and how do maps work, how do you find locations on maps, and we want to take and define the things in two different ways. So we're going to look at the absolute position, the relative position, then go through and kind of do a bunch of examples and then turn you loose on homework. So absolute position is just saying it's location by coordinates. So I'm going to say location given by coordinates. And there's a couple ways you can do it. The second map that we're going to have down here, we're going to do latitude and longitude. So it'll be north, so much of the equator, so many degrees, and so on. But old school maps or normal maps like this here, they don't do latitude and longitude. They have, on the up and down, they'll have letters. So we have F, G, and H right here. And then we have 3 and 4 and 5 would be next, and so on. But if we want to look at where's Joe Louis Arena, so Joe Louis Arena is right there. What letter is that going to be in our grid work? Yep, that's in H. And then for our numbers, you could take and do it the other way. So it's solidly in H3. Does that make sense to everyone? Yeah. So H3 for that. Let me erase my pencil marks over there. If we were talking about map 2, where we're doing latitude and longitude, looking at Grand Rapids, well, Grand Rapids is going to be right around there. So kind of in Michigan. And so we need to figure out where is that going to be latitude and longitude. So latitude is north and south of the equator. Agreed? Mm-hmm. So right here is going to be our equator. This is 0 degrees. Then you can see we have 10, 20, 30, 40. So 40 is this line. 50 degrees north is going to be this line. So it looks, well, 45 would be like right in the middle. So it looks like we're a little below 45. Agreed? At least for where I put my dot. Can I convince you it's north of the equator, 44 degrees? Work for you? And sometimes they'll do like, if it was 44 and a half degrees, they might say 44.5, or sometimes they use minutes and seconds. But for just that north part, we'll say north 44 degrees. And now we have to just do our east and west. So I'll scroll back up there in a second. But east-west, we have 0 degrees here. You remember the name of that? The prime meridian. Nice, prime meridian. Okay. So we're going this way from the prime meridian to get to Grand Rapids. So is that east or west? West. So we're talking west. And if I kind of take and follow this thing down, well, I have 80 degrees is right here. I have 90 degrees is right here. So this line in the middle is 85. So we'd maybe say we're west 80. I think we're a little bit past that line, so I like the 86. That's probably what I'd say. So west, 86 degrees. And so west, 86 degrees. Okay on those? All right, and where I put my dot for the hometown might have messed up our latitude and longitude a little bit. So relative position doesn't look at it that way. Relative position looks at it as though where are you relative to or compared to something else. So I'm going to say, look, so location is given by, in relationship to another place. For example, you could say Sandy's is about a quarter mile northwest of here. Donuts. Okay, so relative position. Relative position then, so I want to go to this map here. So where is Detroit News compared to Joe Louis Arena? So Joe Louis Arena we said was right there, the X. And Detroit News is this, I'll put a circle around it right there. So, but you have to be a little careful because it's like, are we saying northwest or are we saying southeast? So they're saying Detroit News is what? So Detroit News, so we're going this way. So we need to say northwest, right? And if the map was upside down, then all the writing would be upside down too. That'd be my argument. But okay, so I'm going to do northwest. I'm going to put the distance in front of that northwest. So I'm going to put an NW at the end of my blank. And now that distance, well, your best bet's probably to take a ruler, or you could take and use the end of an index card, use a pencil even if you had to. But I have this distance here. And I'm going to take in, so in my mind, that seems like it's about that length. And The top numbers are going to be in kilometers, the bottom number in miles. So I'm going to just go with miles. So at least for my drawing, so if this is 1 mile, what do you think, 2 miles? Tiny bit less than 2 miles? Maybe 2 miles or 1.9 miles. 2 miles northwest of Joe Louis Arena. The being a little careful about the direction, northwest versus southeast, did you guys get that okay? Because I have to look at where'd you start. We're starting here at the Joe Louis Arena. We're going to Detroit News. So, okay. Miami and Ottawa. So that's going to be in this bottom one. So Ottawa's going to be right there. Miami is there. It's tempting to say the direction is what? Oh, we're going from Ottawa to Miami, so we're going that way. Ooh. Most people said south. I love the south. It's tempting in my mind to think southwest, because when I look at a map, I think south is this way. Agreed?
Let's do so.
But here's the problem. Our Earth is a sphere, and we're trying to take this round object and put it on a flat map. Do you agree these lines here run north and south? Mm-hmm. So if we look at our map, south on the actual Earth isn't this line here. Instead, south should follow this curved line. So south is actually like this here. So is Miami west of Ottawa? Yes, a tiny bit, but it's pretty much south on our line. So I'm going to go with south. I'm just going to say south for my direction. I left a little space where I could put in my distance. And now if I'm going to actually scroll up on this one. And so if I grab a ruler, unfortunately this just has inches, but I'm going to take and throw a ruler on here, and I'm coming up with that it's about 7/8 of an inch. So I'm going to put 7/8 of an inch on here. Let me get a pen. Okay. So I'm looking at right there is going to be the distance. So if I have 1,000 right here and I have 2,000 right there, I want to say we're a little less than half. Can I convince you that half is maybe right there? 1,400? So 1,400. And then units would be miles, because we're going off these bottom numbers, 1,400 miles south. And on like a quiz or test, when I'm like checking you for accuracy, there can be some play in that. I try to look at it and be like, okay, I think this is the best answer, and I want you within so many miles or so many feet or whatever it would be for the units. Feel like you know enough to be dangerous?
Yes.
Questions on any of those? Let's do a few more. So map 1, absolute position of Hart Plaza. So Hart Plaza on map 1 is here. So what letter are we in? Follow this across.
4. Oh, wait, yeah, G.
I'm going to argue G. If you said H, I'd probably let you get away with it. But the number for sure, you should say
4.
4. So I think G4 is going to be our best answer. So G4. And what is Hart Plaza's location relative to the John F. Kennedy Square? So if I find, so we're going to that Hart Plaza from JFK Square. So John F. Kennedy Square is right there. And, yep, so what's Hart Plaza relative to Kennedy, right? Relative to Kennedy, yep. So we're going from Kennedy to Hart Plaza. So Hart Plaza, I like it, southeast. And our distance is going to be, we said this was about 2 miles. What do you think, about 2? So it's about an inch on my thing there. So I'm going to say a little less than 2. Using my ruler, I'm going to say 1.9 miles southeast. So 1.9 miles southeast. If you were to say 2, yeah, I'd totally go for 2. 1.75, you'd probably be good. 1.5 miles, yeah, that's too short. So, okay. With these, so what city, map 2, is north 5 degrees? So I'm doing this one right there. North 5 degrees is going to be right about here, agreed? Halfway between 0 and 10. Going up from the equator, north from the equator. So I see 2 options, really. I have Bogota, and I have Bangui, something like that. So those are both going to be my north 5 degrees, west 74, 50. West is this way, which tells us then it has to be Bogota. So that's 70, 80, 75. So it'd be the Bogota, Colombia. So get rid of some of my marks. And what city is north 38, east 24? So north 38, so I have 30 and 40. So 38, I'm going to say is probably right about here-ish. And east 24. I found a lot of people mess up on the east-west, that they get used to usually going left, so then they start out here kind of in the middle of the Atlantic. But if it's east 24, we have to go that way from the prime meridian. So we have 20, this would be 25, so we're just to the left of 25. Looks like we're talking about Athens. Right there. Because that's the right bit north and west. Ready for the last page?
Yeah.
Just a couple last page.
I don't even see Athens on here. I just remember the images.
Here's the car that's not red.
Sure.
I can't see red with that
Okay.
green.
Okay.
Do blue, definitely.
So I'll go for the blue. I thought was red would pop off the map the best. But okay, Astrodome. So Astrodome is down here at the bottom. Make it a little smaller. That better for showing up? Astrodome. So we're talking about letter J and 4.
White.
Yep.
I could try for a white. So J4.
Or you could just make the tens like this, but
Okay.
the
Yeah, white shows up well. Okay, cool. So, and Texas Southern University. So Texas Southern is right there. So, and, well, if this is my 4.
southwest.
Oh, okay. Texas Southern relative to the Astrodome. So we're going from the Astrodome to Texas Southern, right? So northeast. And our distance. So if we have that there.
You know that's a white triangle.
I'm told 3 miles. Let me throw my ruler on there a second.
If you go from Astrodome to
About,
Rice University to Texas Southern and back, it's a white triangle.
so I have 1 and,
I go green.
okay, right about there. So I like the 3. 3 seems to line up. So northeast, 3 miles, or 3 miles northeast. Questions at all, or does that seem okay?
Seems fine.
Okay.